What if average was something to celebrate? As parents, we spend so much time and effort pushing our kids to stand out in the crowd, to perform above average, to be better than the rest, and to do more and more and more. But what if things like peace, joy, and connection don't live in being the best, but instead in being enough, just the way you are? In this episode, we're talking about the beauty of average. Yes, normal, ordinary, and why embracing being average could be one of the most beautiful experiences you could have. I'd like to start with this question. When did average become such a bad word? If I tell someone, hey, you're pretty average, it's almost offensive. But if being average is seen as a failure, where does that leave most of us? Because as definition, most of us are in fact average. That's just how the world functions. Here's the thing. Life is not made up of constant highlights. In fact, life is full of ordinary moments. Having dinner together, bedtime stories, playing with friends. And those seemingly ordinary small moments are what shape childhood. And we often rush through everyday moments, thinking that the big events matter much more. But what if the beauty is actually in the ordinary, in being average? And it's in those moments that we find the biggest connection with our children. And when we stop chasing the extraordinary, we can actually see the magic in the mundane. That's life, and that's enough. There's also a subtle kind of strength in being average, one that doesn't need applause. Think about the people who keep the world running. I'm talking about teachers, parents, nurses, shopkeepers, bus drivers. These people rarely chase fame or a trophy. They show up every day contributing steadily, caring. That is strength. That is resilience. It's not flashy, but it's deeply human. Let's take a closer look at what it means to be average. It means you don't have to chase perfection every day. You can give yourself permission to breathe and to pause. You can be yourself, not the version of yourself that wins awards or stands out in a crowd, because you're enough just the way you are. And when we let go of the need to be perfect or special, we find something else that is even more valuable. We find peace. Let's be honest, it's not so easy to swim against the current because we live in a world where we're constantly bombarded with messages such as stand out, be special, do more, be extraordinary. But what if we quietly rebelled against that? And what if we taught our kids that it's okay to be ordinary? That in fact, being ordinary is something beautiful. And when we embrace being ordinary, we're actually opening the door for growth to happen. Because without the fear of failing at being the best, we can try, we can learn, we can fail without judgment. When we celebrate average, we're actually challenging a culture that tells us you have to stand out to be worth something. But what if we tell our kids they don't have to stand out to matter? They already matter because they exist. Because they laugh, they love, they show up, and they grow. Now that is a quiet rebellion worth leading. So how can we pass this message on to our kids? This comfort of already being enough. One thing we can do as parents is to pay attention to what we praise. Are you praising your children for achievements and awards? Or are you praising your children for kindness, for giving something their best effort? There's a deep message in that. It is important to remember that we are role models. And we can show children what it's like to be content with everyday moments, such as taking a walk or the bedtime routine. Also, encourage your children to be curious and not competitive. And please, don't compare them with other children. And lastly, remind them that they are enough just the way they are, their ordinary, average, fabulous self. And that's a person that you love more than anything in the entire world. So here's to the beauty of being average, to the freedom that comes when we embrace the ordinary, everyday moments, and to the joy that creeps in when we stop chasing the extraordinary and choose to simply be present. Thank you for watching, and bye for now.